So what is the best Jeep Wrangler I've ever had? First of all, let me preface this by stating that I have had a few Jeep Wranglers, two-doors, over the years. I had a four-cylinder, the first one that I bought, manual transmission. And then I had a Sahara after that. And more recently, Jeep Wrangler Sport S 2018. And the new remodeled, I guess, it's not really redesigned, 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sport S. Now, let's start at the beginning. Way back, I decided I wanted a Jeep Wrangler two-door, and I went to buy a manual. I wanted the manual transmission. Now, I was looking for pretty much the cheapest Wrangler I could find in a manual transmission that had everything else I wanted on it. And I say that because the first one that I looked at, you know, dealers can be funny, salesmen sometimes. I went in and I had a professional job, right? I mean, I had to wear dress clothes, a tie, all that stuff. And this was my daily driver, or gonna be my daily driver. So I went to the dealership and I'm looking at Jeeps, and I come across one, it's got everything on it pretty much. I mean, pretty basic. It was a manual that I liked, but it didn't have air conditioning. And I told the guy, I said, I have to have air conditioning, you know? I mean, I work a job where I have to wear dress clothes and a tie and all that junk. And in the summers when it's really hot outside, I don't want to be rolling all the windows down, or if it's raining, let's say, but it's hot. Obviously, I'm not going to put the top down and get soaked going to work or coming home because I don't have air conditioning, and I just couldn't stand it when it's 90-some degrees and humid outside, and you're sitting in a Jeep with a black top. I mean, it was crazy, because that's what the dealer said, the salesman. He said, well, it's a Jeep. You just put the top down. I'm like, really? What the hell happens when it rains? So they didn't have any other ones, and that's why he was trying to convince me that I should buy a Jeep Wrangler with no air conditioning in it. So I went to another dealership and they had one. I found one. I think it was army green, if I'm not mistaken, in color. And it was fine, but it was gutless. It was the four-cylinder, it was a manual, and I wasn't really happy with it. It was probably a mistake that I bought it to begin with. I mean, a four-cylinder, back in the day, they didn't have any power. At least mine didn't. So I got rid of it after that. It wasn't too long. And then a few years later, I bought a blue Jeep Wrangler two-door Sahara. And that was a really nice Jeep. It wasn't automatic. It had the six-cylinder engine in it. Plenty quick enough. It was a blast to drive around. But I had a problem. One day I was driving to work and it had rained and the pavement was starting to dry in spots, you know, and the freeway I was on, it was at rush hour, it was going to work, and it was busy. So it had a big sweeping turn in it to where you couldn't really see what was around the turn in the lanes in front of you. By the way, this is all my fault. So I'm going around that turn and I'm in the fast lane. I'm doing probably 70, something like that. I mean, I wasn't really moving, but I was moving pretty well. And I go around that curve and traffic was stopped. And I'm like, oh my God. So I slam on the brakes, as you would when that happens, right? And I'm on dry pavement. I mean, wet pavement, I should say. So I start to slide a little bit. I start to skid. And then the worst thing ever happens. I hit dry pavement. So the tires grabbed the road. I was in a curve and it went up on two wheels. Came back down, I slammed my head on the roll bar. It was not a nice experience. And we all know Jeeps are top heavy anyway, right? They have a higher center of gravity. That was horrid. It kind of scared me away from the Jeeps. It scared me of the Jeeps, to be honest, the two doors. And I don't think they even had the four-door Jeeps back in those days. So I didn't keep it for much longer after that. Again, I really did love that model, love that Jeep, but it just put a fear in me I couldn't get rid of. So I traded it off on something else. It might have been a Toyota Tacoma way back then. I'm not sure. it was a few years after that, and we decided, matter of fact, it was many years after that, and we decided to move to Texas, and my wife wanted a Jeep Wrangler because we were selling all the vehicles that we had in Ohio because we didn't want to ship them. So I told her, yeah, you know, you get your Jeep Wrangler, whatever. So she bought, actually had built, a 2018 Jeep Wrangler 2-door Sport S with the 6-cylinder engine. Naturally aspirated, fantastic Jeep. It's done well for us the whole time that we've had it. The only issue was recent, and after what, almost 6 years, the auxiliary battery in it went out. So I actually tried to take that out of the system, and I did, but we still have auto stop, unfortunately. I thought I would get rid of auto stop when I got rid of the auxiliary battery. I did not. But I did take it out of the system. Otherwise, that Jeep Wrangler has been bulletproof. No issues, no problems with it. Fun to drive, it's quick. We have a pedal commander in it, so gets rid of any throttle lag there was, and it was already pretty powerful before. The only problem with that Jeep is she lifted it, put bigger tires on it, and it rides like a lumber wagon. Not nearly as smooth as what this Jeep is. And speaking of this Jeep, this one I just got recently. It is a 2024, but it is a 4-cylinder turbo. I believe it's the 2-liter. Gotta say, when I went to drive it, I was skeptical, probably because of the 4-cylinder I had back in the day, that it was going to be gutless, not fun to drive. Keep in mind, that 4-cylinder was not a turbo. It was just a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Completely different today in this version. Gotta say, it's quick, it's fun to drive, it has great acceleration, not quite as powerful as my wife's V6 and not quite as quick, but it's relatively close enough that I don't really have any bad feelings, I guess, or I don't miss having a V6 when I jump from hers to this Jeep. Now, which one is my favorite? Which one is the best? Gotta say, hands down, the best Jeep that I've had so far in the 2-door Wrangler is this one, the 2024. It is awesome. Still a bit of a rough ride. It is a Jeep, but not nearly as bad as my wife's. Again, the power is there. It's enough that I can still have fun driving it and not miss having a 6-cylinder. I get decent gas mileage in it, 17 to 18, 19 miles per gallon. Granted, that's primarily city driving. It would be better if I used this on the freeway, but I really don't need to travel the freeway much anymore, so there's no need for it. Anyway, I just wanted to get on. If you happen to be in the market, maybe you're looking at some used Jeeps, maybe you're looking at some new, just to let you know my impression anyway of where Jeep is now as compared to where it was then. I would definitely go for the 4-cylinder turbo if you can do it. It's just so much better than anything else. Leave a comment. Let me know if you agree. If you've driven the 4-cylinder turbo, I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.